Still loaded.
I get those goosebumps every time, yeah, 713 to the 281, yeah, I'm riding. Why they on me? I'm flying, sipping low-key. I'm sipping low-key and honest, flying rider. I get those goosebumps every time. I'm around, yeah. I'm on, you make everything go fine. I get those goosebumps every time. I need the hype, throw that to the side. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you're not around me, throw that to the side. I get those goosebumps every time.
Up the mags. Yes, sir.
Hello and welcome to the Loaded Mag NUFC. Welcome to the reaction show, the Pete Davey birthday reaction show, the Chris Hall Derby reaction show, and the Grissom Park shit show reaction show. Hello everybody. Welcome on this Sunday evening, Sunday night. Pete, you're looking fresh as a daisy there. How are you?
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely not fresh as a daisy. No, man. I'm absolutely shattered. But yeah, result aside, great evening, great weekend. So yeah, really happy. But yeah, we would have just topped it off nicely with 3 points, but just didn't quite make it. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie. As soon as this is done, I'm finding my bed, and that's where I'll be until Monday morning.
Chris, you're wearing red. It's not blue. Thank God.
Yeah. I was feeling a bit blue last night, got to admit. But yeah, I like Pete. I was out last night as a few too many, and obviously very disappointed. With the outcome, should I say? Because I felt like it was there for the taking. But it is what it is, and I think I was trying to keep a positive slant on it, wasn't I? And said to you boys, I always say a point away from home. It's not disastrous. And I think the results today have gone our way as well, which is quite nice. But yeah, all good, mate, all good. And like Pete, I think I won't be following Pete to bed, but I will be going to bed myself. How are you, Daz? You all right, mate?
I'm grand. Yeah. We got it out of the way. It's kind of a pity we have to talk about this again because it kind of blocked it all out. Sure you guys have as well, but no, all good. Look at start of a new week tomorrow. Let's get to it, and put an international break. That's the only downer. It's going to be a while before we see real football again. Let's get into the game and get through this. We can rattle through this fairly quickly, I'd say. The team news as called on away days, actually. Pope was fit, so he started. Hall came in for instead of Kelly, and Trips it was in instead of Tino. But any thoughts on the team news, lads?
Well, I think we had it pretty spot on, didn't we?
We did. We smashed it. Yeah, that's exactly what we said, wasn't it, Pete? That's what we thought it would be. Obviously, we spoke about the possibility of Isak being in the team, but I think deep down we all knew it was probably unlikely, and it was a shame. Well, obviously, when it was announced, when Eddie announced that Isak wouldn't be playing, but yeah, and I don't know whether you got the image or not, Daz, but yeah, I must admit I was really excited pre-match when I saw the Everton lineup, because we knew Branthwaite was out. Seeing their wing backs of Ashley Young and James Garner did fill me with a lot of hope. But yeah, I was happy with the lineup to start off. Obviously disappointed Isak wasn't playing, but it was great seeing that middle three in there. Bruno, Tonali, and Joe Linton. And of course, as well, really pleased to see Lewis Hall cementing his place at left back position. So yeah, I was happy with the lineup, mate. I was.
Cool. We'll move on. We'll move on to the lineup. Let's get into it. First half, 6 minutes in, short back pass and nearly latched on to Gordon Pickford. Got back, came out and cleared it. 9 minutes, Bruno shot from a corner. Enjoy somehow deflected it out though. Even for that was so unlucky. He got lucky there with that clearance. Anyway, we'll move on. Dominic Calvert-Lewin shot and Pope saved it. Gordon seemed to be targeted by Everton. I wonder why. They give a lot of cheap free kicks away towards Gordon. Then at 17 minutes, Decore hit the ball in the net. The goal was ruled out for offside. Rightly offside, of course. I don't think anyone's disagreeing with that, even too early. But a bit of relief for Newcastle because that was the warning that we kind of needed then. Gordon was getting the ball across the box on a few occasions, but couldn't find a man, and no one was there to meet the pass either. Then this happened. I have it here, actually, the picture. Tonali was manhandled by Tarkovsky, and went to VAR. Ref goes over to the monitor. Penalty Newcastle. You're thinking then, here we go. Who's going to take it? I actually thought Gordon was going to take it. I know what comes next. There was question marks over should he be the one to take it with such an emotional game for him as well. But Gordon steps up, takes the penalty. Pickford saves. Poor penalty from Gordon. I'm going to go back to just finish off the half, and then we can get your toss in the penalty. Gordon's head does not drop though. His running continues, and a chance just before half time of Gordon headed it down and towards J7, but nothing comes of that. 0-0 at half time. But the main talking point, lads, was the penalty. Thoughts, Pete? We'll go to you first on the penalty.
Initially, I saw something. One of the lads who was watching the game with had spotted it. Like he was like, "Surely that's a penalty." I was like, "What?" Because I saw the tussle, but he's just dragged him to the ground. And then when you look at it, like, how is the ref not seeing that? Like, the ref is looking directly at the players, and if you look at that image at the bottom where you can see the wider image, you're looking at Tonali, like in Tarkovsky, like that is the first thing a referee in the position that the referee is would pick up. It's obvious. He's not blocked. He's got straight viewing on that. Like, how has he not seen that? But look, regardless, it's an absolute stonewaller. What Tarkovsky's thinking, I've got no idea. Because that's always a penalty. You're literally wrestling him to the ground. And it wasn't even really for anything. He wasn't even like Tonali was giving it him back. It was for nothing. But hey, I wasn't complaining at all. And once it went to VAR, you knew it was a penalty. You just knew it was a penalty. But but yeah, I was at that point. I was absolutely buzzing because we dominated them at that point, and I think it was, I just thought that this was the accumulation of that domination coming into something.
I thought you were going into Deji mode then, Pete.
No.
Domination.
He would still come out and say domination in the location after they got absolutely rinsed in that second.
First half, maybe.
Oh,
yeah, maybe. But no, it was a Stonewall penalty all day long. Just why is the referee not seeing it? But yeah, disappointing that we didn't capitalize on that one.
Chris, we'll go to you for the penalty. What was the penalty for you, first of all, and then let's talk about Gordon.
Well, I didn't even know. I didn't even know that we'd been awarded the penalty because I'm on the toilet at this point. I come back, right, and everyone in the bar was staring at the screen, and you heard people going, "Oh, yeah, it's a pen," and then I went back to my table where my brother-in-law was, and he was like, "Stonewall pen." He was like, "The VAR in it now," but he was like, "It's a pen, 1,000,000% a pen." And then I had my blue mate, which you'll have all heard me speak about, who was in the chat for the away days. He's saying to me, never a pen. How's that a pen? You see that happen every week. And I was arguing with him for a good 20 minutes, just going, I cannot believe you think I'm gonna pinch that still, Daz, and I'm gonna send it to
You
him
can have
later,
it.
and just put shame on the WhatsApp group the fact that he's arguing that wasn't a pen. But yeah, I did expect Anthony Gordon to take it. I saw his little pre-penalty ritual, and it honestly, I know it's easy to say. It's like when someone's pregnant and they go, oh, is it a boy or a girl? And they go, it's a boy, 1,000,000% a boy. And then it is a boy, and they go, see, I told you it was a boy. And it's like, well, it was 50-50. Like, you weren't going to be that far off. But just before the penalty was taken, I was thinking, he's going to miss this. He's going to miss this. I don't know what it was. I just felt like the occasion got to him. He tried for it to not to, but I think you could just tell, like, all the deep breaths. And I'm sure that's like a routine that he goes through naturally. But I think in hindsight, which is a wonderful thing, I think it would have been maybe better for Fabian Schär to take it, or even Tonali or whoever. But I wasn't sure whether Gordon should take it. But knowing the character he is, knowing the personality he is, I think he was always going to put the ball down and want to take the penalty. But in hindsight, probably not the wisest thing. Old teammate in Jordan Pickford, who's probably faced hundreds of penalties from Anthony Gordon. Also England's England partner as well. So he'll have had recent experience of Gordon's penalties. It was just, I don't know. I just don't think it was the right decision. But again, if he'd have scored, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We'd say great, he's stepped up and he's took it. But yeah, I thought it was a poor penalty. I thought, he should have done better with it. But Stonewall penalty, and obviously disappointing that he missed. But it's just one of those things, isn't it?
Okay, I've got a question for both of you. And like at that split second when we had the penalty, who did you think was taken? Not thinking about it for a second or two, just that split second. Who do you think was taking it? I thought Gordon.
Yeah, I did.
There's no one else.
Yeah,
there's no one else I thought was going to be taking it than Gordon. Obviously, like Chris said, quite rightly, Schär is a penalty taker. But if my forward is not picking that ball up and putting it on the spot to take it, then I'm questioning him. I am. If he's not wanting to take that penalty, so the fact that he did take the ball and put it on the spot, I was like, yes, that's what I wanted to see. I haven't got an issue with the process. I haven't got an issue with everything else. For me, I did think, is it the occasion? Is it Goodison? Is it all those things? I don't know. Like, he's good in pressure situations. Like, it was only last week he was taking one at St. James's to equalise against Man City. Like, that's a pressure situation. A few weeks before that, he was taking one that possibly could have had us out of the Carabao Cup, and he dispatched that. I just thought it was a poorly connected penalty. I don't think he got enough on it. I just think the connection that he had with the ball wasn't great. And maybe you're right in terms of the Pickford thing, Chris. Obviously, club and country, having him. I think it's maybe. I think he may have maybe changed his mind last minute, and maybe changing his mind has affected his connection to the ball. Because some of the best penalty takers in pressure situations, people think, oh, they're gonna try something different and go a different way. Like Harry Kane's the classic for me. Alan Shearer is the classic. Is that they'll go to the left
where they're going
with power. Where they're going. Gordon's had 2 penalties now. One at the Forest penalty shootout, one against City, where conviction whips that ball into the far corner. If all else fails, go down the middle. Like, if you're worried or you're thinking he's gonna outthink you, he's a very good penalty stopper. Is Pickford. Go down the middle, just try something different. But I think he got caught maybe in 2 minds of maybe trying to catch Pickford out, and then that took his eye off the connection, and maybe that's why he didn't do what he needed to do. But I back him. I mean, he won't get the next one because Isak will get it, and then Wilson will get it because Wilson's obviously second choice, so he'll be back to being third choice. But if he was to take the ball again, I'd trust him with it.
Yeah, same as me. And he's come out and give his side of it as well, and that's cool. Let's move on. Let's talk second half. Bright start for Newcastle. Final ball still missing. Bruno had a shot over from a great Newcastle move in 55 minutes. Gordon moves out to the left with Barnes kind of now going in the middle, like you said in way it is what you could see happening, Pete. Sub on 61 minutes, Barnes is off, Miggy is on. Then it's Miggy, Gordon, and Murphy. 64 minutes, Miggy ball across, Pickford blocks it out. 66 minutes, another talking point. There was a little video on this, but we don't need a still picture will do, because Tonali gives the ball away. Dominic Calvert-Lewin has a shot. Pope with an absolutely unreal save again. But a follow-up from Byrne, he gets in the way of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin kicks the back of his leg. Everton won the penalty, goes to VAR. No pen. Newcastle breathe again. And rightly so, it was no pen. Was it a pen for you? Chris, we'll go to you for that one. I'm sure your blue mates had something to say about that one.
Yeah, it was for, well, my blue mate who I was messaging, a Stonewall pen apparently. And I was just like, it's just not. And it was funny because, again, when it happened in the bar when I was in, everyone's screaming, everyone's jumping up for it. And I turned to my brother-in-law and I said to him, I was like, I don't think that's a pen, I don't think it's a pen. And then I watched it. I kept watching it. And I was a bit on the fence over it. And then they showed the last clip of it from a particular angle. And you see Dominic Calvert-Lewin going, and then he just hooks his leg round and Byrne. I was like, there you go. It's not a pen. It's not a pen. And obviously they didn't give it. So, that was a blessing in disguise, because you guarantee if they'd have got the pen, they would have scored it. Because it would have just been typical. But yeah, for me, it wasn't a penalty. I wasn't as adamant, like some people were in the pub. How they were all saying definite penalty, and they, when they're showing all the different clips of it from all the different angles, people are getting more and more hyped up about it. And then they showed the last one, and you could just go, and everyone go, it's like, well, there you go. The last little clip was enough for me. It was absolutely enough, and it would have been very harsh if it was given. So yeah, for me, no pen. And we kind of got away with one there.
You were shouting pen, or you Pete?
Me? I was no, I was praying it wasn't. I missed it. I missed it live. And then watching it back.
You weren't going to the bathroom, were you?
No. I was pouring another drink. I was in the kitchen pouring another drink at that point. But no, it's not a penalty. You cannot kick the leg of a defender and go down and ask for a penalty. Because that's basically what's happened here. He's kicked the back of Burns' leg, gone down and demanded a penalty. That would be an absolute travesty if we didn't get that one overturned. And that would be a penalty for any reason. So yeah, glad that it wasn't given a penalty. Didn't deserve to be. I think. And to be fair, I think VAR got both right. They got both right. Not very often we say that about VAR, but I think they got both decisions right. So it's a fair play to them, to be honest.
VAR is the real winner. Yes. Right, we'll move on. 68 minutes, Murphy off, Willock on. Then 70 minutes, Trips off, Tino on. Trips was kind of complaining or something, so he's signaling to come off. Tonali come off as well at the same time, and Longstaff come on. Miggy had a shot deflected into the side netting, corner resulting from that one. 81 minutes, Gordon played through by Miggy, but he fires over. So no joy at all for Anthony Gordon. That was his chance to redeem himself, really, that one. 82 minutes, McNeil fluffs his chance also. 86 minutes, Miggy chance, but he rushed the shot. Poor. 87 minutes, J7 tried a thunder bastard, went wide. Full time, 0-0. 0 shots, I think, on target for Newcastle. Said it all, really. We desperately need a striker to come back. We could do with another striker in January, I think, as well, because you cannot rely on Wilson, and it's pretty bad just pinning all your hopes on Isak, because Osula from the League Cup game, he doesn't look like he's ready. He needs some kind of a loan move or something just to give him regular first team football for me. But your thoughts, lads, on the 0-0? Anything else you want to say about it?
Go on, Chris.
The only thing I wanted to mention, and I don't know whether you boys felt the same, and this sounds really weird, I was actually more disappointed with Gordon's shot than I was the penalty. There was an opportunity, I forget what minute it was, I want to say between 65, 75, something like that. And
81 minutes.
Oh, was it that late on? Bloody hell.
Yeah.
Right, okay, 81 minutes, and Gordon just blazes it over the bar. And you know what? Again, going back to what I said about the penalty, I just felt like he wanted to smash that home. He wanted to put as much power and ferocity on it as he possibly could. And I thought, if this wasn't against Everton, he wouldn't have hit that like that, because he was getting loads of stick. And we know Gordon can finish, but I was so disappointed with that shot, and I thought that was the chance. That was the chance. He had a clear shot at goal, and I felt like he tried to put too much on it. And obviously it was blazed over the bar. But Everton really got off there, because I think if we'd have scored that, we'd have seen the game out. Because second half particularly, and my brother-in-law kept saying it to me, Everton had no outball whatsoever. They were digging in for the point, and fair play, a point is good for Everton, particularly how this season's gone for them so far. But it was just a great opportunity, because I think if we'd have gone 1-0 up, we'd have just seen the game out, and I had no worries. The only thing I'd like to mention, and give Everton, I'm giving Everton credit here, but I thought that Illiman and Dye was mustard. Like, I thought he was really good. Like, I thought he was a big threat. I know a lot of the Blues have been singing his praises, and they were saying, "Oh, he's too good to play for us, too good to play for us." And I was thinking, "Oh, come on," And when I watched him yesterday, I was like, "Wow!" Like, he looks a real handful, and he looks like he's a good signing and a bit of a shining light for them, because other than him on the pitch, there really wasn't a lot going on. And yeah, we'll look. Someone in the chat put it before. We'll look at this game and go, 2 points dropped, but it's another. To look at the positives, it's another clean sheet. It's another away game where we've come away unbeaten. Obviously, last season we lost 3-0, which was horrendous, by the way, as I'm sure you'll all remember. But it's a point away from home. Everton battled, particularly first half. Second half, I think they just settled. I think Sean Dyche, the message was just don't get beat. But yeah, I think having Isak out was a big miss. But other than that, I mean, we'd settle for the point in the end, and we get the nice 2-week international break. Hopefully, get Alexander Isak and Callum Wilson back, and we come back refreshed for the Brighton game. But yeah, it is what it is. But I'm trying to be positive over it, and at least we avoided defeat, because that would have just been horrendous.
Yeah.
There's positives and negatives to take out of this game. For me, the positives were that's probably the up there with the Man City performance. I thought the performance of the players was really good, and I think sometimes the result does cloud the actual performance of the team. It's one of the best performances I've seen us play this season, and we did it away from home as well. We did say kind of in the build-up in away days, what we want to see now, we want to see the performance and the points. We're kind of still in that position where we're getting one or the other. At the beginning of the season, we were getting the points and not the performance. Then we got the performance and not the 3 points against Man City, and it's a little bit the same for yesterday's game. I was really pleased with what I saw. I thought the back line defended really well. Back five, including Pope. I thought that back line was really good. Well, another well-deserved clean sheet, both in attacking and defensive areas. I thought there was some good stuff. I thought that's the best I've seen our midfield play for a long time. They are the midfield three that I want to see every week now moving forward. Sandro Tonali on the right side, Bruno in the middle, Joe Linton on the left. We can see what those guys are going to do this season. They dominated that midfield, and we did talk about it away days. We had it on there. Whoever was going to play in that midfield was very defensive. Everton, we dominated. possession, quality with the ball. It was really, really good to see. So really, really pleased with that. The only downside to this, obviously, we drew. We needed, not that we needed 3 points, but we all expect 3 points. If you're looking at this, if you're looking at our fixtures ahead of time, you're earmarking an Everton away as a 3 points, and we haven't. So it's frustrating. It's disappointing. It's frustrating because we played well enough to win that game and to win it comfortably. The problem and the issue that we need to get right, and we didn't have this issue last year, is that we need to be clinical. Last season, we scored 80-something goals. This season, we're scoring goals, but not convincingly and not in the way that we were doing last season. If this was last season, we put 3 or 4 past Everton and the game's wrapped, probably by half-time, and they don't come back into it. Like, that's our biggest problem. We had the possession. We had nearly 70% possession over the course of that game. My issue is that, I mean, and it's a valid point. A lot of people are saying, and Chris, you mentioned it about, you know, if we'd have had Isaac, if we'd have had Wilson, we'd have won the game. We probably would have. But we had Barnes, we had Gordon, we had Joe Linton, we had Bruno, we had Tonali, all can find a goal. Like, we still had enough to do that. And when you're having 14, 15 shots on goal and only hitting the target 3 times in the whole game, that for me is not good enough. It's not. And you touched on the Gordon chance. There were others. Bruno blazes over the bar. I think somebody else blazed over the bar. Might have been Joe Linton at one point. Like, these weren't half chances. These were good chances in the game. You've got to make the goalkeeper work. The fact that we battered Everton for long parts of that game, for the vast majority of that game, and Pickford hasn't really been worked other than the penalty, is frustrating for me. He should have been peppered with the amount of control and dominance in the game, and we didn't put him to the sword. We didn't test him. He's probably walking. Everton are walking away. They're walking away, and they're going, "Yeah, good point. Take that." Yeah. They were shy. Everton were shy. Like, they can wrap it up and present it however they want. They were shy. There's a reason why they're near the bottom of the league. They were not good. Apart from that one player, Ndai, they were not a good team. But we've gifted them a point because we didn't execute in the final third, and we have to be better at that. Gordon's been around long enough now. He needs to be putting that chance away. That chance there, 81 minutes. You've just got to hit the target. You've got to make Pickford work. Like, I don't know at the angle he's at. I don't know what he's aiming for. I've got to be honest. In those situations, you go bottom corner, far corner, keep the ball low. You make Pickford go low to save. Like, putting it up there, it doesn't make sense. If you're going in, directly in, like as a direct line, then you got the whole goal to shoot at. Yeah, maybe you go high, maybe you go low. I don't know what he was doing. Bruno missed another chance, blazing it over the bar. Like, we just need to be more clinical. We need to be better in front of goal, and that's what I want to see moving forward, because we seem like we've got the defense locked down now. We seem to be consistent in our performances at the back. Everyone knows their jobs. We're doing it well. Apart from Fulham, every other game we've done okay defensively. We seem like we've got that midfield set now. But now we just need to be more potent up front, and we can't just keep relying on Isaac to bail us out. We've got to get goals from elsewhere in the team. We have to start doing that. Yeah. Tell me if I'm wrong. These are just my observations, my thoughts. I'm just putting them out there based on what I saw. Like, that's so. We're positive. Played well, good performance, sets us up nicely for Brighton. Got to be more clinical.
Let's go to the table, lads, and just have a quick look at the table where we are now. Push it over here as well. You can still see it. Okay, right. So we're sitting here in 7th spot, with Brighton overtaking us today with their 3-2 victory over Spurs in the second half, coming from 2 behind. We're sitting on 12 points after 7 games, which is not too bad considering we haven't really got going. Apart from the Man City game where we turned up, we haven't got going. And as Pete alluded to as well, getting goals are a problem. But hopefully back in for Brighton, we've got Isak and Wilson, and we'll see how long Wilson can stay fit for as well. So that's where we sit. Anthony, you want to reflect on? Well, let's go to Everton. Everton, they're on 5 points now after 7 games, 2 clear of the drop zone as it stands. But Anthony, you want to reflect on the table, lads? I suppose Pete, you said it before the show as well. Like we're only 2 points off Chelsea and Villa. Villa drawn today with Man United, and Chelsea drawn with Nottingham Forest. I'm not going to call them Notts Forest anymore. Thanks, Whitby. But yeah. So Anthony, you want to say on the table?
Well, I think we, along with the table, I think this is quite a nice point to put up from Geordie Team for Life here. Yeah. Some of the fan base online, including NUFC. I'll be honest, I've not really been on socials since sort of Saturday morning, so I haven't really seen a lot of stuff. But in a lot of NUFC channels, we were saying that we played shite and how out. Makes you wonder if there's any knowledge in football. It's embarrassing, really. I think this sums up the situation. Like that performance yesterday was not bad. No, it wasn't a bad performance. It was a dominant performance. We just lacked potency in the final third. And you quite rightly said, Chris, and Daz, you've said the same as well. You could argue that because the second best striker in the Premier League wasn't fit and available, and our second choice striker wasn't available. So you could argue that that's a very valid reason as to why we weren't as potent. So there were reasons for that, but everything else up until the final third I thought was excellent from our team. So if people are slating us and saying it was shite, just the stats are there for everyone to see. We made 3 times as many passes, successful passes, than Everton did in their own backyard. We had nearly double the amount of opportunities at goal. We had just as many big chances as them in the game. We had a penalty that was unlucky, it was saved, could have gone in. Like we got a clean sheet. They barely put us under any pressure throughout the majority of that game. Like that's not a bad performance. So yeah, I agree with Geordie Team for Life. Like people saying that and questioning how he's putting these tactics together. He's making this difficult to beat. He's trying to progress us into a possession-based football team. And going back to the whole point, obviously why the table's up there. All of that, we're still 2 points off fourth, which is our top target for this season, is to be in and around the Champions League conversations. Isn't that what we want? Isn't that where we're looking to be? And we're only 2 points off it after 7 games. Or if you want to scroll down, Daz, on that Premier League table, keep going all the way down. There we go. Or do you want to be where Man United are right now? I know where I'd rather be. And I know which team I'd rather have and which manager I would rather have. Our expectations and our targets are exactly the same as Man United's this season, and look where they are in comparison to us. And we're not even out of first gear yet. We will be absolutely fine. So if people are calling our performance and call it the manager, then yeah, they've watched a completely different game to me. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, do you know what, Pete? You can argue. Totally agree with everything you just said there. You could argue, couldn't you? If Gordon scores that penalty, or if he scores that chance near the end, or Bruno scores, and we win 1-0, the narrative completely changes. Everyone goes, "Oh, what a professional performance! Everton didn't have a sniff. Newcastle dominated from start to finish, and we got the 3 points. What a professional performance away from home." It just changes it, doesn't it? It makes a difference. And I think people sometimes forget that, it's moments, and if you don't take your moments that you get in the game, you don't get the the maximum points. And on yesterday's performance, I didn't finish watching that game last night and go, oh, what a load of shite that was. I thought, you know what, a draw was probably a fair result on reflection, because I didn't feel we did enough to win the game. If anyone had to win it, or if anyone deserved to win it, it was us, absolutely. But we weren't clinical enough. Had we been clinical enough, we'd be talking about collecting 3 points right now. But we limited Everton to barely any chances. And unfortunately, we had a few half chances, or you could argue slightly better than half chances, and we just didn't take them. And you're absolutely bang on the money when you said that when you're missing a player of Alexander Isak's quality, and then you haven't got Callum Wilson there to back up, you're going to miss. It's going to be a big miss. But I didn't feel despondent or obviously I was disappointed not to get 3 points, but I didn't come away like I have done in some of the other games this season, where I've gone, bloody hell, we were lucky there, but we were crap. We didn't play well at all. Yes, we've got the 3 points, but we didn't play well at all. I actually thought we played pretty decent yesterday. It's just a shame that we didn't get the 3 points. So no, I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, and as sorry.
I was going to say, what do you think, Daz? What your thoughts? I like the change.
My thoughts are, I changed from the table because it's early days in this league campaign. These games that are coming at us now after the international break, with our strikers back, at least one of them back for definite, are going to be massive if you think about it. Because again, I've called it before about it when we played Spurs. It was a 6-pointer. This game against Brighton is going to be kind of a 6-pointer as well for our battle for Europe, because Brighton are up there. Then most definitely is the one with Chelsea, and then we have them in the League Cup as well. So, and then it's a massive game then against Arsenal as well, and then never mind coming to Forest and to West Ham after that. But these games here are going to define a lot here and what we're talking about going forward. Let's hope we're still in the League Cup. Let's hope we're still battling up there in the the high European places, and we're giving ourselves a good chance then going into January, maybe bringing in a few players. How and Mitchell will have time to work together and to identify a few players to come in. Maybe not just put all your eggs in one basket and go after one player. Go bring in a few to bulk out the squad a bit, and maybe even use some of the summer budget for that if you need to. If there's something that's there that to be done, let's say, and then keep ourselves in the hunt for European places. But if we're losing, let's say we lose these 4, then we're in a bit of trouble then.
It's funny though, isn't it, Daz, how a couple of games can change his perspective, because we've come off the back of a really good performance against Man City, a well-earned point. We've done the same against Everton, played well. Could have got more, but again, another point. And now I look at these fixtures and I think, well, you know what? Brighton, obviously fantastic win for them tonight against Tottenham, where they've come back from 2-0 down. But Brighton at home, you'd fancy us. I think you would fancy us. And as Tottenham have shown, you can get at them. So again, if we show that professionalism but take our chances, there's no reason why we can't get 3 points there. Chelsea, again, disappointing result for them today, really. Arguably, they should be beating Forest at home. And I believe, and I could be wrong here, but I believe they've got a couple of players out now as well. Whether that's for the next game, whether or not they'll be missing for us, I don't know. But causes a little bit of uncertainty, who knows. But, Chelsea away, again, I'd probably be looking at that thinking, okay, if we can get away with a point, that wouldn't be too bad. Chelsea at home in the Cup, I think we'll play a pretty strong team. Yes, Chelsea's team will be strong because they've got like 120 players. But again, we can take advantage certainly of being at St James's Park. And then Arsenal's a bit like the litmus test. I'll admit I'm not expecting anything from that game.
Like the City game.
No, this is it, mate. This is it. And with it being at St James's Park, I think that's a big plus. And then obviously you go on to the next 2, because we were looking at the previous 6, which included City at home, Everton away, and now we're looking at Forest away and West Ham at home. And all of a sudden, you can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel, and you think, well, you know what? If we can navigate ourselves through October, get into mid-November, all of a sudden things are looking up a little bit. Then we're coming up against a Palace team who are. It's surprising how poor Palace have been. Actually, they've not been there doing well with the results. We owe Liverpool one at the start of December, which I'm sure you'll all agree. And then again, you're looking in December and you're going, it's a lot of points up for grabs there. And the difficult teams who we've got to play, boys, as you've probably noticed, we've got them at home.
Yeah.
So they've got to come to our gaff. Arsenal have got to come to St James's Park. Liverpool have got to come to St James's Park. Villa have got to come to St James's Park. Brighton have. So all of a sudden you're going, hang on, we're going to cause teams issues. And if we can get ourselves come the end of the year in that conversation, in the ballpark of top 4, we go into the new year refreshed, and hopefully we can get some transfers in January.
Yeah. Look, I'll stop sharing that. Back to where we were. I'll get rid of the circles as well. Boom. Yeah. Let's go to a few questions. I have another topic, but I'm not sure if we do another show on it specifically, or we start talking about it now. So let's take some questions first and see do the chatters want us to go into that topic as well.
Yeah. Geordie Soon for Life makes a great point. He says, results have went our way today. Completely agree. With Brighton beating Spurs, it means if we beat Brighton, we move up the table. Completely different if Spurs had won. Yeah, I mean, I watched the game and I thought Spurs were just going to, see the game out. But fair play to Brighton, they come back. And like I say, I think the results were good for us today because, Brighton have been a little bit inconsistent, I'd say. So the fact that they've turned Spurs over and put all the pressure back onto Spurs, I think that's a really good thing. So no, I agree with what you're saying, Geordie Soon for Life. The Clon lad says bring back Chris Wood. I don't know whether it's too soon for that. I mean, people have been saying I've got my Nottingham Forest shirt on, but I don't know if I go that far, but
I do think a target man needs to come in.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised. Just what I've been thinking last few days. Don't be surprised to see Will Asula go on loan in January, and we get another striker in. Yeah,
Jonathan David.
Well, this is the thing.
He runs out in the summer, doesn't he, Pete? His contract?
Yeah. So
look to cash out maybe.
And this is where we need to think smart, lads. Like just stay with me with this. And Daz, you might not agree with everything I'm about to say, and I can't even believe I'm saying this, but like this
finger on the button.
Let me get settled there. Hang on.
For me, like I'm looking at this situation, and all the talk is that we're going to go back in for Mark Gay. We're going to go back into Mark Gay in January. Obviously, going to be a cheaper price. Blah 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 blah. This, that, and the other. That's fine. I'm not. These are just my thoughts. I could be completely wrong. By January, we can have Botman and Lascelles back, and then you've got 5 options at centre back, whereas we only had 3 for this first part of the season. There is an argument that we won't necessarily need to go back into the market. If you're going back to Botman and Shaw, Burn as a backup, Lascelles as 4th, for a team that's playing 1 game a week and maybe the odd week if we're still in the cup competitions and we're going deep into them, there'll be an additional opportunity there. We might not need to go back and get a centre back. Of course, we want top quality. But there might not be a need. So it's not out of the realms of possibility that we go, right, okay, we've got 70 million at least burning in our pockets, ready to go. Reminds me of another transfer window back in 2022 when we ended up getting the likes of Bruno and Trippier because others had already spent all their money in the summer and couldn't afford to pay the money to get these players in January. We've got the money down. And Will Asula was going to have his breakout season at Sheffield United this season. He was going to start for them. He was bagging goals in pre-season. He was looking good. Go give him a loan back to Sheffield United. Go let him play for 6 months. He's had 6 months of development with us. working under Eddie Howe. Go back and let him go play for 6 months and smash it in the Championship. They're likely to be up and around it in terms of playoffs. So he's going to get plenty of minutes. He's going to get plenty of chances to score. Go let him go do that. And then we go and get in a third striker. Now, you've mentioned Jonathan David. It's an interesting conversation. He would be my first choice if I'm going to go for anybody right now. Go get someone like Jonathan David, 6 months left on his contract. Go pay a little bit of money to get him in. Even if it's 15, 20 million, he's worth it. But is he going to be happy playing second or even third fiddle? So then there's a conversation is, do you then release Callum Wilson? To supplement Jonathan David coming in, and you go with Isak and Jonathan David for the rest of the season? Or do you go with someone as a third choice option and bring him in and being competitive with Callum Wilson? Maybe someone like
Say it, Pete. Say
We've
it.
been putting in the private chat who we think you're going to say.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Maybe someone like him. Maybe someone like him. And you pay pittance to get him in the door. And he holds the ball up. He causes problems. He's not going to start for you. Probably not very often, unless there's injuries. But he can be a target man to see the game through. And with that, it's really smart business play. We don't need every player to be star-studded that comes into Newcastle United. We need players to do a job for us. We need players that have certain assets to do jobs for Newcastle United. So I'm at the point now, I wouldn't be against that type of signing. I wouldn't be against it because I can see what we'd be trying to do. And it's cheap. It wouldn't massively dent the transfer budget. It would allow us to maybe get one or two other players in over that window to be able to do the job. So that's what I'm looking at. Or there's the other option where you keep Wilson, you keep Asula, you keep Isak, and you go, right, let's go and strengthen the position we always wanted to strengthen, and let's go and get a right winger. And we put all our money into that. That's the other option in terms of where we go. If we're in a position where we're fighting in the top 7 by January, I would not be surprised if our priorities are not attacking players in comparison to defenders. I genuinely think that. I genuinely think that we'll either go for a right winger or a striker to really strengthen our push for the second half of the season. Tell me if I'm wrong. Shoot me down.
Look,
you'll have to say who you're talking about as well.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say the name. Don't say the name because everyone knows who you're talking about. But without even saying, well, I had the similar. I need to wash my mouth out after saying this, but
hold on a second. You had a similar what?
No. I just thought having no striker as to having someone that could hold the ball up might be helpful. All right. And since he cut his hair, he seems to he doesn't get injured as often. So, but I'm not going there. I'm not willing to go down fully down on that track yet.
Not such a silly idea, then, is it? Huh?
No. Well, I still think there's like he's Premier League proven in the way that he's playing the Premier League, but this like Paul Mitchell has to know other players we could bring in. They're not going to be Premier League proven probably, but they could do a job, and they'd be younger, and you'd hope to be less injury prone. And he's still bottom of my list, Pete, after all that. But I can see I had similar thoughts in my head when watching the game yesterday as well. But I'm not now.
And look, there's a couple of options out there for sure. Or do you go for a similar type of player and pay a little bit of extra money, and you go and get someone like Vlahovic as an option, so you pay a little bit more. Interestingly, someone put in the chat just a second ago, and I thought about this the other day, and I thought it might be difficult. Jordan for life about Darwin Núñez. I'm not sure how long he's going to stay at Liverpool.
No.
I'm not sure how long he's going to stay there now.
That's two managers, Pete, who don't trust him.
Yeah.
2 managers who don't trust him because they don't. He plays a game or he plays a couple of games and then he's dropped. And then he might get 10 minutes off the bench. That's it.
I don't think and I never thought it from the day he signed for Liverpool. He doesn't fit their system. He would have been perfect for Newcastle United, and I'm adamant, and I remain the same way. I'm so glad she's gone now.
Lisa,
these zebras. Honestly, I was hovering over the timeout button. I'm not gonna lie, Lisa, hovering over it. But no, Darwin Núñez was perfect for Newcastle. He is perfect for Newcastle United setup. He would score goals in this team. Now, of course, we've got Isak, but if he wants to come to a team where he play a lot more minutes and be able to play in a system that suits his game, I'm not against him coming to. I'm not against us going for someone like that. Obviously, I'm not paying the money Liverpool paid for him, not at all. But there's a good player in there. People are giving him stick. There's a good player in Darwin Núñez. There is a good player, top striker in there. You just got to have the right system. Sorry, Chris.
Imagine Pete. No, mate. Imagine Eddie Howe and the owners go to you, Pete, and go, right, Pete, go and get me Darwin Núñez. You go into the Liverpool offices. How much do you think they'd want for him, and how much would you be willing to spend on him to get him to Newcastle?
Darwin Núñez. I think Liverpool would want 60.
Did they pay 85? Was it 85?
They paid 85 for him. I think Liverpool would probably want to sell for around 60. I personally wouldn't pay any more than 50. That's just my opinion. Just from the sample size that I've seen in the Premier League, I just don't think they can demand any more than that. But that's just me. That's what I would. I probably wouldn't pay any more than 50. That's kind of that's my limit. And to be fair, with Paul Mitchell, I think he'd probably be the same in terms of the way he operates. He's not going to. We're not going to go out and put 70 million down on a centre back. We're not going to spend all of that money on one player. We're not going to do that. In January, we'll probably get 2 or 3 players that are cheaper but have got potential, or 2 or 3 players that are. And Nobby Clark just put it in the chat. Why would Dominic Calvert-Lewin be cheap? Well, he'll have 6 months left on his contract, and from what Mike was saying on away days, he's not willing to or not likely to sign a new deal. You could, and what was the value? Chris, remind me what Mike said. How much they thought they might get for him for Dominic Calvert-Lewin?
Anywhere between 10 and 15 million.
Yeah, I think it might have been less than that. I think he might have even said between 8 and 10, but anywhere between 10 and 15 million.
Yeah, he's definitely said 10 or 15 million, but he said that's on the high end. I think you're right. I think if someone came in and went 8 million, they might push it up to 10, but that's the most you're getting. $1,000,000%, that's the most you're getting.
That for a striker that's 27 that can do the other bits of the game that Isak can't, who's proven his fitness. Like I think that's a no-brainer. I think we do have to be smart in the market, and people might go, and I was one of those. Me and Daz, we were both that guy, that was like
still that.
Yeah, and I get it. I'm
better out there for me.
I'm less so. I'm less so as part of a process. You know, if we can bring him in as a third choice and have Calvert-Lewin, Wilson, and Isak as options, like I'm all for that. If Dominic Calvert-Lewin's coming in to be the number 1 as a replacement for Isak, I'm not having it at all. Like that's not what I'm looking for. If I'm bringing him in as a third choice to do the job like Chris Wood effectively did for Newcastle before we sold him at 27 years old, like I'm taking that deal at 8 to 10 million or 10 to 12 million, however much. And I think that's a very smart bit of business that Newcastle United could do, because I could actually see Dominic Calvert-Lewin playing for Tottenham doing exactly the same role, and I could see Tottenham going and signing him in January. I genuinely could, or someone like Brentford putting the money in and going and buying him because he'd be their Tony replacement. I can see a number of other clubs going and signing him. So if they're going to do that, and teams like Tottenham could potentially look at him as a smart bit of business, then why should we? But other people in there. No, Clon lad, not Andy Carroll. Forget that. John Duran, pretty much the same price as Asula. Look, John Duran could have gone to West Ham for 40 million. John Duran will not be going anywhere from Villa for less than 60 now.
No.
Just off his sub appearances and the goals that he scored, he's whacked his value up. Now, I mean, Villa won't sell him, but you're talking money that we're probably not going to pay for a striker that's going to be second choice. Like, it's not happening.
I noticed Davil. Oh, go on.
It's just I see Mike is in the chat, so and I had something ready for you, Mike. You would be glad to hear a bit of this. Where is it?
Classic.
Great show.
Loved it.
There you go, Mike. That's all you're getting. Gordon will come back to haunt you in St. James's Park.
I was going to say, Pete, I was going to raise your Dominic Calvert-Lewin with this man who I know that you've spoken about previously, and you and Davil are on the same page here, it seems. Let Wilson or Asula go on loan and sign the lap.
The only reason I've not mentioned him in January is because Ipswich ain't going to release him.
Yeah, it would be mad for them to let him go.
But like, for me, I would have the lap as a Wilson replacement in the summer. Let Wilson go, free transfer, let him go. If not, we recoup something in January. Get Dominic Calvert-Lewin in as a kind of replacement, whatever you do, third choice for then go and get Liam Delap. We're like, if Ipswich go down, he is not a player that will stay in the Championship with them. He'll stay in the Premier League. Why not take a punt on him? Obviously, of course, he's had a good start. Let's see how he progresses. If he's still doing what he's doing at January, February, March time, and he's still putting the ball in the net, he'll probably be sitting close to double figures, if not on double figures. And we're having a genuine conversation about him being a summer target, in my opinion. But yeah, players like that said it. There's options. There's so many options out there. We're just throwing a few names out there. I have talked about Darwin Núñez. Look, Darwin Núñez isn't going to come to Newcastle United, but for me, I would take him because I do think there's a player in there. But yeah, we're not talking about him actually genuinely coming to Newcastle because I just don't think it's going to happen.
I think they take a chance on someone that hasn't played in the Premier League. That's what I think should happen. And let Mitchell cook, I guess, and Eddie give him a chance to do so.
Definitely. There's who's the other one? Samu Amordian. Is it Atletico Madrid? He was going to go to Chelsea as part of the Gallagher deal, but I think there was a problem with this. Was there a problem with his knee? Or was it there was something?
It was a medical, wasn't it?
Medical. It might have been his heart. There was something that stopped that deal from happening medical, and I think he ended up going. Did he move somewhere else?
He is gone to someone. I'll tell you now. He's gone to FC Porto.
Oh no, that's the one. Yeah, playing in Porto. Another one. I've only seen a small sample size of him. But there's another one. There's so many other options. I think the players that will come in from now on will be very much outside the box type players.
Yeah.
Paul Mitchell acts and operates very differently, and he'll operate in a very smart way, but he'll operate in a way where he'll look at players that probably have never been linked with Newcastle United before. I think come January on our shows, we're going to be talking about a whole new remit of players that we haven't necessarily been linked to. And that's exciting for me. I'm excited by that because we're going in a different direction, which is interesting.
Yeah. No,
that one there, Darwin Núñez is an all-action striker. High press, high intensity, plays on the last man's shoulder. Exactly how Newcastle United play. Like he will get opportunities and chances in this team, and as well as that, our style of play actually suits his style. With Liverpool, it's a little bit more rigid in the way in which they set up. So I do think with Eddie Howe, I think he'd be perfect. But yeah, that's it. Just my opinion on that.
Big shout out to Tom Dixon, who's tuning in from Greece.
Excellent, Tom.
Hope you're having a nice time, mate.
Whereabouts in Greece, fella?
From the musical Greece or from the country Greece, Tom? Clarify.
I like that.
He could be starring in it for all we know. Tom has many talents.
I think Jordan Team for Life, he's referring to Evan Ferguson there, isn't he? Who's fell off the face of the earth. I mean, now I think he's behind João Pedro, he's behind Danny Welbeck, and Woodford as well. Glad they got him from Leeds.
Did he come on? Did he come on today?
I don't know.
Warming up.
How was he warming up?
Because Pedro's injured.
Yeah,
Pedro's injured. So I'm like, if he's not come off, he didn't even come off the bench
When they're 2-0 down.
Well, yeah, when they're 2-0 down and then ultimately 3-2 up, he didn't come off the bench. That for me, as a striker, I'd be worried at that point. When you've got João Pedro out, who's ultimately the guy, he is the guy. Welbeck, who's he's rejuvenated his career. He is fine at the moment. But yeah, he's not bringing Welbeck off, and even Ferguson's not coming off the bench. They made 5 subs today. I think some were forced. Adam Webster, another injury.
Yeah.
So Igor came on. They've already got their main centre back. Is it? What was his name?
Give him a H. Is it
Van Hecken?
Van Hecken.
He's out injured, and he's likely to miss the Newcastle game. Pedro is likely to miss the Newcastle game. Adam Webster now potentially looking to miss that game as well. They're going to be struggling centre back related. They're going to be very tight in that position. But striker wise, João Pedro is going to be out. Even Ferguson's not even getting a sniff. Like something's not right there.
Well, was that a typo from Tom? Did you say Zenti or did you say Sandy? I couldn't. You need to be more specific here. We still don't know if you're in the musical or on holidays.
Someone just put on the chat that Pedro was meant to be back for the Newcastle game.
Allegedly.
I'm sure Adam said that he wasn't.
I know on Fantasy Football, I mean, not that you can go off that, but his return date was unknown. But I don't know whether they think he might be back after the internationals or not. It was quite weird actually, because when he got injured, if you remember, the manager Hitler, he didn't really want to talk about it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, he'll be back. He might be back. He's training. We'll see. We'll make a late call on him," and he's still not back.
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder whether he's broke down again or whether the injury was a bit more severe than what he was cracking on.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We'll get into that with away days in a couple of weeks.
Boys, I've got another topic if you want to talk about. I put it in the chat because we might want to talk about it. We might want to do a specific show on it later. So do you want to talk about it? That's my question.
It's up to you. It's up to you. It may well be part of a wider conversation maybe this week.
It might be. I was thinking that might be too.
So but, we can leave it till then. It's up to you, boys.
Yeah. No, we'll leave it. We'll leave that topic. So
we could probably do a whole show on that, couldn't we? Which I suppose is like you're saying about us doing it. Yeah.
Let's do that.
Leave everyone in suspense.
Right. While we're waiting for any more questions or anything to come in, I just want to give a quick shout out to a few of the sponsors. So first of all, Radiator Shed. Yes, Russ and the Radiator Shed. Contact Russ at theradiatorshed.com. They have the email address. And Use the code loaded20 for 20% off. Our telephone on 077-666-04112. And Russ will sort you out with all your radiator needs. Also, a shout out to, and you get a choice, lads, of what you want me to say here, because we've got a new script. We script. Did you see it?
I haven't read it yet, but I've seen it. I've seen it come through.
So, do you want me to do the male version or the female version of the script?
I think you should do the female version because we always talk about the boys, don't we? So why not do the female version?
Right. Okay. I'll give it a go. Ladies, is your man still rubbing his head in the shower with just his hands? Well, there's no way to treat. I didn't write this. Well, there's no way to treat a scalp. Let Manscaped give him a little TLC with the new scalp buffer. Forget the razors and the ball deodorant. It's time he steps up his head game. Let's face it, men need a bit of help in the grooming department. So why not get him the only silicone toy he'll actually need in the shower? Oh, God. And it's safe to share. His scalp will thank you, and so will you. The Manscaped Scalp Buffer is a silicone grooming tool designed to exfoliate the scalp, stimulate blood flow, and enhance shampoo performance for a cleaner, healthier head of hair. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code loaded20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code loaded20 at manscaped.com for the premium grooming experience. Trust Manscaped. Probably don't have a picture of that, but we'll get a picture. We'll put that up as well. But across all the Manscaped range, use the code loaded20 and they will sort you out. That's nice one. I thought the male version was a bit aggressive. I was telling it to Pete beforehand. I'll read the first line. Because heads up, boys, and no, not the ones down there, you pigs. That was a bit aggressive to be going out with, but right. We don't write this, by the way. Where do we go after that, lads?
So we had a couple more questions, which I'll come to. Where are we? Claire G says, she says we need a set piece coach. Do you agree with that?
Oh my God. I swear. I knew I had something to talk about. Right. Honestly. Everton had 0 corners. We had 10.
10. Yeah.
I don't know about you guys. Like, if there's one thing that I need to see coming back after this international break, if there's one thing I want to hear that Eddie Howe and the team might, it might actually be Jason Tyndall. That's his remit. He works on set pieces.
It is.
I need to know that they're working on that over the international break. I'm sorry. I'm sick of the same ball being played to the back post to Dan Burn, who, for someone that's 6'7", isn't the greatest in attacking headers. He's not the best. And the ball then not reaching past the first man. I think Lewis Hall on like 3 occasions out of those set pieces, but barely made it past the first man. Like, there was one decent corner, and it was the one where Bruno's was cleared off the line. It was the ball came in. It was the only time they did something different. I think the ball was played short. Tonali makes the diagonal run and flicks it on, and then Bruno's at the back post, and he kind of like gets onto it. And it's really interesting because Dan Burn, before he signed for Newcastle, did exactly the same and scored at Goodison playing for Brighton. And I'm just like, come on. Set pieces are a massive concern. Like, if you're getting that many, and that's corners. We also had dangerous free kicks where we could play the ball into the box. If you're having that many opportunities to work the ball into a dangerous position into the box, and you're not troubling the keeper, we had one cleared off the line, but other than that, we didn't trouble them at all. It's a massive concern. You look at what Arsenal are doing. Arsenal looks so potent on pieces. Gabriel, Trossard, whoever it is in the box, there's someone there picking the seconds and thirds up. We need to do that. Like, we need to be better. If we're gonna be putting pressure on teams to win that many set pieces, it has to become part of your toolbox, part of your arsenal. shall we say, is like to create a problem for the opposition. It doesn't seem like it is. Like, have you boys noticed that? Like what I've said, because set pieces, we just don't seem to be maximising it at all.
I don't know. I completely agree with what you're saying. I don't get excited when we get a corner. And it really, when you get a corner, it's a great opportunity to put it in the mixer and, you know, cause a threat. But for some reason, it just feels like it may as well be a throw-in. I don't think, oh, we're going to get something here. Or I don't think, oh, you know, we're a real threat now, or, you know, we can really capitalise on this. I think that's something Jamal Lascelles adds, actually, because I think Jamal Lascelles in the air is really, really good, and it just gives us that little bit of threat. But surely, like you say, Pete, there's got to be something that we can do to work on it. Even just come up with something imaginative. If we're putting it in the box and it's not working, do something else. Do something else with the corner, because right now it's just like, oh, just put it in and just see what happens. But we never seem to get anywhere with corners in recent times. Anyway, that's how it feels.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. What do you think?
Yeah, what do you reckon, Dazzler?
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I think is it? We've always thought that it is Tindall's role. So, are they going to relinquish? Is Tindall going to relinquish that role? Is it going to be an issue? You know, I see even Villa today, the guy, the long-haired guy in the beard, that's his role as well. The guy, he was there with Gerrard actually as well, that guy. But I don't know. We need to mix it up a bit for sure, and especially with the height we have from corners, we should be able to get something from them every now and again. So, but let's see.
Yeah. Definitely a good point there from Claire. Where else are we? Clonlad says, question, who do you start if both fit, Wilson or Isak?
Sorry, question, who do you use? Isak every day.
I suppose what he's maybe asking is, do you start Wilson and maybe put Isak on the left? So you got both.
No, like we did before. Was it against Southampton like 2 seasons ago before the season that got relegated? Have Isak on if we need if we're level or in a game, or if we're behind, bring on Wilson and then go at it that way. And he's going to want to. Well, both of them are coming back from injury, but you imagine Wilson's going to need to be treated cotton wool. You know, really. He's not going to throw him in, start him anyway against Brighton. No way.
No.
Isak has to start, and I really do hope that it's the end of Isak playing off the left. We've got Barnes, we've got Gordon that can both play there. We've got Joe Linton that can play there as a third option. And I don't know if you've noticed, he has been making a lot more runs on that left-hand side recently. He has been playing a little bit higher up in picking up those little pockets. We've got Willock that can also play there. We don't need Isak to play on the left. He's a striker, playing where he needs to play. Play him as close to the goal as possible, because if you're giving him the ball in tight spaces, he's going to put the ball in the net. Like, he has to.
Yeah. Yeah, I like what David Cooper said there. Yeah.
If we're not, if we're winning,
yeah.
But then again, Brighton, the Chelsea Brighton game, was it Brighton are ahead first in that, and then Chelsea came back into it? It was the other way around. What happened today? Whereas today Brighton were behind and came back against Spurs. I think Brighton were ahead in that game against Chelsea, but I didn't see the start of it.
Didn't see where
week before.
Yeah.
Let's see. Once again, it's 13, 14 days ago away.
Yeah. 2 more questions, boys. So the first one is from Harple, and he says, "Are we really just a mid-table team?" And when he says mid-table, I'm assuming, Harple, you mean like lower top half. So like, you know, like an 8th, 9th, 10th kind of team. Is that really where we are in terms of what we've got and what we can do? Or do you believe that, you know, we can regularly be amongst the top 6 with the squad that we've got now?
I think if we're finishing 8th or 9th, I think come May, it's bye Eddie, I think. So I hope not.
Do you think if we have this, I'll add a little bit extra onto this for you, Pete. Do you think, let's fast forward to the 1st of February and we don't bring anybody in? Have we got enough to still finish in that top 6 without, the extra striker you were talking about, possibly the right winger, possibly the centre back? Have we got enough as it stands to be competing top 6 based on what you've seen so far this season?
In terms of quality, I think it would be very tight with what we've currently got to be able to go a full season with this squad. Even if you had Botman and Lascelles in there, it'd be very tight. It's not impossible, but it'd be very tight. But we want to give ourselves the best opportunity. So yeah, I would be deeply concerned if we don't dip into the market in January and sign at least 2 players. Yeah, I would be. I'd be deeply concerned in terms of what the strategy is. At kind of boardroom level, at sporting director level, I'd be really concerned about what the strategy is and what their thinking is as to why they're not signing in January. And 2, I'd be really concerned about Eddie Howe's future at Newcastle United, because that's then the second window in a row that they haven't. Third window, in a row, because January last season, that'd be the third window in a row that they haven't backed him. That would be like, you go back to us doing full-loaded transfer shows in January. Would you have expected this?
No.
To be sat here in October, having not made a first team side. First team ready signing, Hall aside, because he was already a Newcastle player.
Kelly was a free transfer.
Yeah. Like, you look at that situation, like we would have never. We were expecting 3 or 4 top level signings to come in, and we've signed nobody. I can't fathom. I can't even register it that on February the 1st or 2nd, whenever the window closes, that we do not sign at least 2 players. I just don't. I don't see it. But interesting question that was put out there. I actually don't. We're not a mid-table team. We're a European We're a team with European aspirations. We're for the last 2 years we've been fighting for Europe. We might have not got it last season, but we finished in a position that out of the last 8 years, 7 of those years, 7th place got you Europe. So it was an anomaly year last season that we didn't get European football, but we finished in a position that would always 90% of the time get you European football. So we're very unlucky. But we got Champions League the season before. We're a team, we are 100% not a mid-table team. A mid-table team for me is with all due respect, is a Fulham, is a Wolves, is a Brentford, is a Crystal Palace maybe. Like they're mid-table teams. We've got bigger aspirations than that. In all due respect to those clubs, we're not a mid-table team. We're a team that's fighting for European football every season, and that's what's going to happen moving forward. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
Can we? There's another.
Oh, go on, that's fine.
You go first, Chris, because it's just
no,
changed the topic.
I was just going to say, for me, I think we are. I think we're a top 7 side at present, but not just for quality reasons. I think it's key that we bring in new players more to rejuvenate and re-inspire what we've got at the moment. Because we all know, when you get a new team member on your team, and I'm sure it's even more so the case in football, it just gives everyone that extra 5-10% to raise their existing levels, and it just adds a new dynamic, a new excitement. Imagine if we brought in a player who had, a huge impact on us, from January. Someone like, I don't know, I'm not saying this person, but, imagine bringing in a player like St. Maximin. I'm not saying sign St. Maximin, but, somebody who's going to excite the crowd, get people's bums off the seats. All of a sudden, everyone goes, do you know what? We can get top 4 here. We've got this guy now. And it just lifts everyone's levels. That's why we need a first team player to come in and really reignite the team. And that's what I think we lacked in the summer, bringing in that first team ready player. And as you say, Pete, not just for quality, but also to raise the levels of the existing players and just to create a bit of excitement and a bit of a buzz around not just the training, but also on the pitch.
You mentioned ignite and inspire. I think we can all agree we won't want this guy, Paul Pogba. He's going to be available and can play from March, I think, onwards. He's been probably going to be released by Juventus, but he's not someone we want to be looking to bring to Newcastle.
No,
he wouldn't. We wouldn't want him, and he wouldn't come. Like he's still a player of immense quality. I've always rated Paul Pogba. People question his attitude, all the rest of it. The only time he was really unsuccessful was when he came to Manchester United. When he came to Manchester United, that effectively ruined him, and he still picked up trophies and was still a key part in that under Mourinho. He will find his feet again and he'll be successful because he's a top player. But we don't need a player of that age. We don't need a player of that profile, wage, all the rest of it. Wouldn't touch him at all. It was the same when we had that similar conversation about Cristiano Ronaldo. Like, what was it? Nearly 2 years ago. Like, he's a good striker and will score goals wherever he goes. But he ain't what we're looking at right now.
No.
Like, definitely not. But yeah, I think. It's
No,
I don't want to. You know what? You've put this seed in my mind now. We cannot go through January and not sign a player. We cannot.
No.
That cannot happen.
No. And we can't be as unprepared as we were in the summer, or it felt like we were unprepared. We need the plan B, plan C, plan D. We need to know what we're going to be going for, and we need to have a cut-off point and go, right, if the deal isn't done by this date, we're moving on. That's what we need to do. What I wanted to add, sorry, Dad, just to add on a little extra. Somebody put it in the chat earlier, so forgive me. I'm sorry, I can't remember who it was, but it was a very good point. And they said, "Do you think that Eddie Howe's trying to send a message to the board?" I'm sure you boys noticed on the starting 11, we had Odyssey's Vlachodimos and John Ruddy on the bench. Is that Eddie saying, "This is what I've got. This is what I'm working with"? Because again, we're at that point where we're naming 2 goalies on the bench now. You can't tell me there isn't a youngster that he could have named on that bench instead. You know, like a Murphy or a Sanusi or someone like that. But is that him trying to send a message, in your opinion?
I don't think Murphy played for the under-21s either. So he must have got some kind of a knock, or I would have expected him to be on the bench. I don't know if it's in the message. I just, No, Chris, I don't think it's not his way, really. Hey, Summer.
Hey, Sums. Who could have been on the bench and wasn't? Jimmy Watts just put Alfie Harrison, maybe.
Yeah, it's a shout. Alfie Harrison.
Maybe.
Did the under-21s not play the night before? Was he playing with them?
Maybe it might be down to who's available, who's not available. Because it just put that bench up again, Daz, if you can.
Yeah.
If you look at that, I mean, we've got players that can come on and make a difference. Livramento. I thought, you know what? I'm not talked about it. I thought Almiron played well when he came on.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
he did.
I do. I think you got Kelly that will fill in and will chop and change with Hall. We've got Willock who will bring that. There were some people on socials apparently calling for Willock to start in the next game. I don't subscribe to that. I think he needs to be an impact player moving forward, as does Sean Longstaff. We've got players there, but let's not forget that bench will change again because you'll have Wilson to add to that, and a player we've not spoken about at all, Louis Miley. Because Eddie Howe said that he's likely to be back for the Brighton game too. So you're adding a young promising kid who looks like he's bulked up. If you look at his photos in the gym, it looks like he's bulked up, like he's added a little bit of muscle to his frame. He's a big, tall lad anyway, but he looks like he's bulked up. Like he's a player that we haven't really spoken about, but had a fantastic breakthrough season or breakout season, if you want to call it that. you're adding him to the bench as an option, genuine option. Like we've got a lot of talented players there to choose from.
Yeah,
It's not bad at all. Sorry, Daz. Go on.
I was just going to say this is who played for the under-21s on, was it the same day? Oh, I can't remember. Well, it must have been the evening before.
It was on the morning. Was it against Villa?
It was, yes.
Yeah,
Villa.
Yeah,
against Villa. It was in the morning because I kept getting notifications. I was like, first thing in the morning, I was thinking, are we playing now? Like, what's going on? Like the Newcastle thing kept coming up about goal and like all the rest of it. So yeah, I think it was Saturday morning they played.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no Sanusi in that squad. So whether he was on standby or not, who knows? Maybe something happened in the warm up or something. You don't know, there. But yeah, I was just surprised. I just thought, and I thought, it was, to be fair, it wasn't me that brought it up. It was somebody else, But when I saw it yesterday, I did think, oh, 2 goalkeepers on the bench again. Is that where we are? I don't know. Just thought it was interesting. Maybe there was a little bit of doubt around Pope as well, and maybe that's why they named 2, thinking if Pope goes off and someone comes on, we need another backup keeper just in case if Pope's not 100%. But the last question I wanted to ask: Did you get in with your point, Daz?
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. The last question I wanted to ask, and we didn't touch on it, and Jimmy Watt says, "Who was your man of the match?"
Didn't have one. Let me see.
I'll tell you mine was, who sprung to mind, and like from the performance that I saw, I'd give it to Lewis Hall. I was particularly impressed with Lewis Hall again. I liked how he's just looking even more calm and assured on the ball. There was a couple of moments where he seems to be learning when to go and when to wait. And I think there was one moment during the game, and I thought, oh, don't go, and he went. But then you saw him double back on himself and go, shit, no, back. And he went back. I think he won the ball back off Harrison, straight back up the pitch. But he provides so much energy down that left-hand side. And game on game, every time I see him play, I think, you know what, defensively, you are getting better. He's getting better and better. And now when I see him in the team, I'm not thinking, oh, how's he going to do against that win back? Oh, I'm not sure. And his ability when he picks up the ball, he dispossesses the player and goes, and he provides that outlet for, at the moment, Harvey Barnes. He's always trying to overlap. He's always trying to push, and he's always trying to get into the middle as well and offer the midfield a bit of help, which then frees up one of the midfielders to go more forward and support the likes of Isaac, but Gordon, whoever's up there. I think he's really starting to come to life. And I thought he had a good game. So he was the standout for me. I was particularly watching Hall because obviously I was a little bit nervous given that Jack Harrison's not slow. And I thought it's going to be a bit of a tough game. We spoke about it, didn't we, on away days, Pete? And I think he had a pretty assured performance. I was pleased with Lewis Hall. There's probably others who I can mention, but he was the one. He was the one for me.
Yeah. I give it to Lewis Hall as well. There was a time as well in the match where he got a block in and then chased it down again and got another block in a row. And I was like, I like that. I give it to Lewis Hall as well.
Lewis Hall seems like Lewis Hall now has the stature of a first team ready starter for Newcastle United. From what I've seen in the last 2 games, it's almost like he's gone through his baptism of fire, his initiation period of training and not playing matches. Now he's been sampled and given a chance back end of last season. Now he's a starter.
Yeah.
And he just needs to be consistent now. If he can be consistent of what he did the last 2 games and continue to do that going forward, we know his qualities and his ability on the ball to hold possession, to make the right decisions, good, intelligent passes. Like, yeah, I think he becomes the guy moving forward, and rightly so. I think he was great. My personal man of the matches were between 2 other people. It was either Bruno or Joe Linton. I thought both of them were very good, very good. I know lots of other people have put Bruno in the chat, and I'm inclined to agree. I thought Bruno was in particular very, very good. it was a possession-based game. We dominated possession, so you really see Bruno come to the front and really manipulate the ball well and keep us ticking over. For me, Joe Linton did a lot of the dirty work away from home. The covering, the battling in midfield, the amount of ground he covers is ridiculous. Like it's hard to pick because they both did it in very different ways. But for me, I think I'd have probably given it any one of those two, Joe Linton or Bruno. But yeah, Lewis Hall I thought was excellent too. But yeah, if it was going to be, if I give one, I'll probably give it Joe Linton.
Cool. Right, that's it, lads. I think we'll wrap up there for the night. Thanks everyone for joining us on our Sunday evening. Smash that like button on the way out as well. If you're new, subscribe. We'll be back during the week. We have a little chat now on what we're going to do, but we'll be back during the week. And Mike, we are coming for you. When you come to visit us in Goodison Park, or in St. James's Park, you would. How'd you like that? Kiss me badge.